Good evening, everyone. So, as you know, we have been doing this webinars for some time now. So, in today's webinar, it's very basic. It's very basic stuff about GMAT. Even though some of you have already started your GMAT classes, but having the basics right is extremely important. I am assuming that some of you attended the previous webinar as well. So in the previous webinar we had discussed a lot of stuff in far more detail. In case you missed the previous webinar in this series, every alternate Saturdays we have this GMAT or MBA oriented webinars. So if you missed the first webinar, then you can watch the recording on our YouTube channel. So this is the second webinar in the GMAT series. So we keep on having this throughout the year on alternate Saturdays 5 p.m. Okay. So first of all, how should you prepare for your GMAT? These are some of the very famous or most I should say most popular GMAT preparation modes. Self-study. Lot of students prefer to study on their own. So for instance, Aman is in Aurangabad, let's say, so there may not be too many good coaching institutes or something, so he may want to do self-study. So we have people from a lot of other places where there are no centers or no coaching institutes, so they do self-study. So self-study is also always a good mode, obviously. And anyway, even if you join a classroom program, you will still have to do a lot of self-study. If you just some of you are already our classroom students, so you get probably 6 hours of classes every week. So Saturday 3 hours, Sunday 3 hours, so you get 3 hours of classes every week. But if you don't do self-study, if you don't do majority of the studying on your own, if you don't do your homework, then the classroom, whatever you learn in the classroom just goes down the drain, right? The best mode is of course hybrid, which is like, yes, you attend some form of classroom. By classroom I don't just mean physical classroom. By classroom I mean where you have assistants, where you have where you have somebody teaching you the concepts. So the person teaching you the concepts can do it through a live classroom, or it can be through recorded videos, just like our online program, or it can be through live online classes, where just like right now I am doing this webinar, I am talking to all of you through a webinar. We are not in a physical classroom, but you can still hear me, you can type your questions, I can answer your questions live. So so by classroom I mean all these three things, that any other way, somebody teaching you the concepts basically. So that plus the self-study, that is definitely the best mode to prepare. You will anyway have to do a lot of self-study. The classroom part, or if you are taking somebody's help, they can only be for the concepts, to learn the concepts. Practicing the problems, that anyway you'll have to put in a lot of extra time and effort on your own. Now what should be the GMAT preparation like, right? So when I say that it should be focused only on GMAT, people get a little confused, like what do I mean by this? So in all these years that I have seen students, so what I realize is that when they come for GMAT classes, they somewhere down the line they miss the whole objective of it. They start focusing on grammar, they start focusing on language, they start focusing on vocabulary, but all of that is not necessary. Throughout your GMAT preparation, your focus should remain only and only that of GMAT, right? That you should study only whatever is required for the GMAT exam. So your GMAT preparation should not be about grammar improvement. No sir, you should not be doing that. It should not be about vocabulary improvement. It should not be like math skills improvement. So see, even if you may have great grammar knowledge, you probably have the entire Wren and Martin memorized, that still does not guarantee that you will get the questions correct on the day of the exam. Your vocabulary may be great, you may have a very you may have an excellent vocabulary, you may be very well read. All of that still does not guarantee that you will get a good GMAT score. So your GMAT score should be focused on getting a good GMAT score. End of story. Like in some of you are Jamboree students here, so you know the way we teach, our focus is only to help you get a good score. Now we don't care whether your grammar skills or your math skills improve in the process or not. We really don't care. We just want you to get a good GMAT score. So our methods are very, very you can almost say formulaic, you know, that okay, this is a strategy, do it, you will get a good score, you know. And ultimately I think that's what you should also care about, right? Getting a good GMAT score, because that is a part of the admission process. You should not be caring about whether other things have, you know, improved in the process or not. Next thing is that, you know, do not ignore your AWA. So some of you, I think Viraj and Sahil are already students here, and I can almost guarantee that you have not spent any time on your AWA till now, because I know how students operate. So somehow students feel that the score out of 800 is the only valid score. They don't seem to care much about the AWA score, you know. However, universities impose a cutoff on the AWA section. So any good university, if you want to get admission, you need a 4.5 out of 6, right? So you need a 4.5 out of 6. So do not ignore your AWA segment. After your 6th, 7th class, you know, while you are in the middle of your preparation, you should start attempting some of the AWA topics. All the AWA topics are given at the back of your official guide, right? So that's, so you know, you should like attempt, no, they need not be right or wrong, but you guys have been probably away from active studying for a you know, for a long time. You probably haven't written an essay in a while, you know. If you are engineers, then you probably haven't written an essay since your school days. So writing an essay can be a challenge, okay? So that's why, just to get into the habit of writing, you know. Moreover, all of us, you know, including me, you know, we are so used to working on MS Word and auto spell checks and all of that. Our spellings have kind of gone out of the window by now, and which I think is the case with all of you also, that your spellings, your written grammar is probably not that good. But the AWA software on the GMAT exam, it does not have auto spell check. It does not have spelling correct or grammar correct, you know. So it is whatever you type goes in there directly. So just to get into the habit of writing, habit of typing correctly, you should start attempting AWA essays while you are in the middle of your GMAT prep, you know. Probably this is not the first thing you should be doing, yes, but while you are in the middle of the GMAT preparation, you should start the AWA, okay? And when you are taking your full length test, do take it along with the AWA section, okay? Alright, so I mean, when I told you that, you know, that GMAT prep should be only about GMAT prep, should not be grammar. So whenever I say these things, you know, students ask that, okay, how can we then get a good score in our sentence correction if we don't study grammar? Sentence correction is all about grammar, so won't it help if we know grammar, etc., right? I don't quite agree with that. GMAT luckily is a very, very structured exam. Unlike the CAT or any other exam, GMAT is very, very structured. Only a selected number of rules are tested on the GMAT, okay? So you just need to know that much, that's it, you know. So just to demonstrate what I mean, I'll just, you know, let you guys, you know, solve this question. So this is the question basically, right? So this is the underlined portion. So this is a sentence correction question. Those of you who have not seen a sentence correction question, in a sentence correction question, a portion of the question is underlined, and that portion may be either right or wrong. If it is right, if the underlined portion is correct, then option A is the correct answer. If the underlined portion is wrong, then you have to replace it with option, you know, B, C, D or E. One of the options you have to replace it, right? So this is the question, you know. So just spend a minute on this and tell me, you know, what's the correct answer. Everybody can see the question, can see the screen. So Viraz, you are saying the question is not visible. Everybody else, can you see the question? Okay, so Viraz, it might be some issue with your computer screen, maybe, you know. Okay, has everybody solved this question? Okay, everybody solved this question, right? Okay, so when you look at this question, first you see that this is a pretty long question. Almost like 80% of the question is underlined, right? From da to was, it's underlined portion, and each option is for 4 lines. So like this 20 lines you have to read, right? There are 20 lines that you have to read. So if you try to do this question by the traditional method, you know, what is the traditional method in our schools or in our colleges? You know, the way we are taught to solve this question is first read the question, then read option A, then read option B, then read option C. So that is a traditional method of solving questions, multiple choice questions. That is how people are taught to solve, you know, throughout our entire school or college life. However, in the GMAT, if you try to do that, you will never have enough time to solve the questions. You get 75 minutes to do 41 questions. So 41 verbal questions you have to solve in 75 minutes. That's like less than 2 minutes per question, and it does not even include the time that you will need to read the reading comprehension passages. You may get 3 to 5 reading comprehension passages, and each passage is going to take you around 3 to 4 minutes to read. So solving the 41 questions in 75 minutes does not actually include the time required to read the reading comprehension passages, right? So how do you solve 41 questions in 75 minutes, right? To be able to solve every question, you will need to solve some questions in less than 30 seconds. And only type of question that you can solve in less than 30 seconds are sentence correction questions. In critical reasoning and reading comprehension, you have to read the entire question. You have to read all the options. So there is no way, you know, there is like very little room to reduce your reading time. But sentence correction, if you follow our methods, you know, you can solve them under 30 seconds. So that is our whole objective. In Jamboree, when we train you to solve sentence correction questions, our objective is to help you solve every sentence correction question in less than 30 seconds, right? So now coming back to this question. So how do you solve this question in less than 30 seconds? Sounds impossible, right? Solving this huge question in less than 30 seconds sounds impossible, but if you just follow the techniques, you know, it's easy enough. Now to begin with, you know, you will note, you know, that the question starts with the word unlike, right? Now like, unlike, you know, these words, they are used to compare. So in GMAT, it's a very common rule. It's called the comparison, right? So how the sentence structure runs is that, you know, this unlike, you know, so you are comparing two things, right? Unlike something, you know, so this is the unlike something, dot 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 dot. So it will be like, you know, dot 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 dot. Then there will be a comma, and there will be some other thing. So this is this structure of a like or unlike sentence. You know, this unlike can be like also, doesn't matter whether it's like or unlike, both of them are used to compare things. Now the rule is that, the only rule that will teach you is that like and unlike are used to compare things, therefore the two things can be comparable. For example, I cannot compare like say an apple with a donkey, you know, they are not comparable. Or I cannot compare you know, a book with a dream, you know, that's not comparable. I can compare an apple with an orange because both are fruits. I can even compare an apple with ice cream because both are foods, you know, but totally uncomparable things, you know, cannot be compared. So the easiest way to check, the strategy that we teach you is that whenever you have this like unlike comparison type of questions, to see whether similar things are getting compared or not, you should see what is there immediately after the word unlike and the words immediately after the comma. not like 2 words beyond or 3 words beyond, just immediately, unlike whatever you have, and the words immediately after the comma. If these two things are comparable, then the sentence is correct. If they are not comparable, then it's not correct. Now let's try to apply this strategy. So now after the word unlike, we have the word people. Okay, in this option we have the word people. So now instead of reading the entire option, what we do is that we go and find the comma. So the comma is here. After the comma we have the wish. Now can you tell me, like, people and wish, are they similar? Can be compared? Can they be compared? Of course they cannot be compared. People and wish are not similar. Now in option B, again I have got the word the people. I go and find the comma, so I see the comma here. After the comma again I have the wish. Wish and people are not comparable, out. In option C, it begins with the word that. Now that always refers to something that came before, so, and now in this question there is nothing that came before, so this is out. I don't even have to go and find the comma and see. The very fact that there is nothing before that, that has nothing to refer to. That always refers to something, a noun, that the immediately available noun, right? So in this case there's nothing, no other noun before that, so that's your option C is wrong. Option D, again I have got the word that again has nothing to refer to, so the out. So I'm not even in options C and D, I'm not even finding the comma and comparing. No need to do that. By default, see, A, B, C, D, if A, B, C, D are wrong, what's your correct answer? E, right? So E is correct. You can just on the day of the exam, you just mark E and move on. But now that but today we can check, right? So we have got the word people. I go and find the comma, so I find the comma, and after that I have got merchants and artisans. So merchants and artisans are also people, type of people, right? So that this is a correct comparison. So so everybody understood? Am I still audible? Everybody understood? Yes, no? Hello? So everybody clear? Everybody understood this question? Right, so just by knowing the rules, and applying it. So Sahil, this is a very basic level question. Now on the GMAT, the questions you can expect them to be around 25%, higher difficulty level than this one. So this is a very simple question, but still, if you were struggling with this itself, then you can imagine the level of the GMAT questions. Right, so but in this, did you note that of the 4 multiplied by 5, 20 lines, of the 20 lines I read like just I just probably read about 10 words. Did you see that? If you try to solve these questions like by traditional method, you would be reading 20 lines in the options. But if you follow the strategy and the method, you would have read only about 10 words. So this is how you save time. This is how you can solve this question in less than 30 seconds. Even though most of the question is underlined, when you see the question you may feel, oh, it's so very difficult. Okay, everybody clear? So those of you who have attended our classes, you might have already gone through this rule, so you probably already know that, and that's why I think somebody answered it correctly. Somebody said E. Sahil said E. So those of you who are attending our classes, you probably already know this. Okay. Anyway, another question. This is a shorter question, so yes, you can do it by traditional method. You can read everything. That's fine. So in this question, this portion, just hang on. So this portion is underlined. So from this mount this thing to recorded, this is the underlined portion, right? This is the underlined portion. Okay. Now to solve this question, there's a very basic level rule that we teach. What do you think about this sentence? John dropped his wallet when he came out of the store. John dropped his wallet when he came out of the store. Like perfect sentence, right? Now in GMAT, this is the type of sentence that is preferred, where the subject or the doer or the main hero of the sentence comes at the very beginning, no ambiguity and straight sentence. So that is the most preferred version on the GMAT, right? GMAT is ultimately an exam for prospective managers. So direct communication is preferred. So direct communication is the type of communication where the subject always comes in the beginning and the meaning is clear. So John dropped his wallet while coming out of the store is a direct sentence. We have no confusion about who was walking out of the store and who dropped his wallet, etc. Now, in case there is a situation where the sentence is not beginning, is not beginning with the subject. In that case, the subject should come immediately after the comma. So, walking out of the store, comma, John dropped his wallet. Most preferred version is John dropped his wallet while coming out of the store. In case that is not available, the next preferable would be walking out of the store, comma, John dropped his wallet. So in this case, the subject is not coming in the beginning, but it is coming immediately after the comma. So this rule we call the comma subject rule, right? Comma subject rule means if the subject is not coming at the beginning of the sentence, then it should come immediately after the comma. Immediately after the comma means immediately after the comma, not 2 words after the comma, not 3 words after the comma, right? Now in this case, so now we'll be teaching you 50 to 100 rules. How will you know which to apply to what question? You cannot just randomly apply every rule. Then you will not be able to solve these questions in less than 30 seconds. So there are some hints also. So anytime the underlined portion starts after a comma, so in this case if you see, the underlined portion is starting after the comma. So anytime the underlined portion in a question is starting after the comma, the first rule that you should check for is the comma subject rule. So this is another strategy that yes, you may know all the rules that we teach you, but you will still not be able to solve the questions in less than 30 seconds if you are not able to identify the triggers, as to which rule to apply. Now the trigger for this rule is that if the underlined portion starts after the comma. So we see that in this question the underlined portion is starting after the comma. So we check whether the comma subject rule is followed or not. So let's read. Of all the volcanoes present in Sicily, right? So what is the what is the subject going to be? The subject is going to be a volcano, right? So subject is going to be a volcano. So now let's see after the comma. Now where should, say if the subject is a volcano, so after the comma we need the name of the volcano. So let's see. In option A, it says Mount Etna's eruptions. So now Mount Etna's eruptions is not a volcano. The eruptions is not a volcano. Mount Etna's eruptions, again not a volcano. Mount Etna, yes, this is a volcano now, so we'll stick with it. Let's see what the E option says. In E option we have got Mount Etna's, so we don't even know Mount Etna's what. So anyway, so this is also not a correct answer. So your option is D. D is the only option where after the comma we have the subject. Everybody clear? Everybody understood this? So there are rules and then there are triggers, rules, we can teach you rules, but we will also teach you the triggers, okay, how do you know which rule to apply? So that's why, just knowing enough grammar will not get you a good score. You should also know in what question what rule to apply, and that's the only way you will be able to solve questions in sentence correction questions in less than 30 seconds. This question, for instance, by the time you are done with your classes, this question you will solve in 10 seconds, so even this, by the time you have done enough questions, both of these questions you will be able to solve in 10 seconds. That's why these questions are clubbed in the easy category. These are not difficult level questions, these are not medium level questions, these are actually easy level questions, purely because the rules are very apparent, very easy. You are not getting stuck between two options. There's one clear answer, right? So these two are easy level questions. Okay, any questions till now? As I said, those of you who are already our students, you might have covered some of these in your classes, right? Yes. So those of you who are not our students, have you been able to understand the concept, the theory? Did you understand the theory of these two questions? Yes. So I think there is Aman, and then Aman and Siddharth. Did you understand the theory? Okay. So that is what GMAT preparation entails. It's not about knowing math formula, it's not about knowing like grammar, because there is what math formula should you know, what grammar rules should we know. So you should only know those which come in the exam. Simple. So in Jamboree, when we train you, we teach you only those grammar rules that are going to be tested on the exam, plus we give you triggers that, okay, this, if you see this, apply this rule, if you see that, apply that rule. So we give you the triggers also, so that it improves your accuracy, and at the same time it saves you time. Okay, now moving on. So while preparing, keep a few things in mind, very basic. Some of you I saw that you have just 15 days into your GMAT prep. Some of you have not even started. So the very perfect time to know about these basics. Don't write on your books. One common mistake that Indian students do, when studying for an exam, is writing on books, like underlining stuff, etc., etc. But let's remember that GMAT is a computer test. It's not a paper pencil test. So don't get into the habit of underlining stuff or cutting out stuff. So for instance, when I solved these questions, I marked out a lot of stuff. So you should not think that is how you should also solve questions. You should not solve questions like that, because on the exam is based on the computer. You cannot underline or cross out stuff on the on the computer screen, right? So from day one, make sure that you are not getting into the habit of writing on your books. Another reason why you should not be writing on your books, very very practical reason, is that if you are like marking the answers in your book or taking notes, etc., then the questions become useless for revision. Our typical GMAT student spends around 3 to 4 months in the preparation stage. So closer to the exam, when you go into revision mode, if everything is written in your books, all the answers are marked out, then all the questions become useless for revision, right? So that is for one very practical reason why you should not write on your books, be it the Jamboree books or the official guide. Any book that you are using to prepare, you should not write on the books. Next is that practice on materials similar to GMAT. There are tons of material available on the internet, in the bookstores. A lot of companies, they have their books. Jamboree, we also have our books. Everybody has GMAT books. But if you have to prepare for the GMAT, then you have to absolutely make sure that you do the official material, right? After the official material, if you have time, then you can think about doing something else. So official guide. The official guide 18th version is coming on, I think, coming out on Tuesday or Wednesday. So the official guide, quant and verbal reviews, GMAT prep test. There are 2 free that can be downloaded from mba.com. There is a question pack also. It's called QP1 or 404 questions. Exam pack 1 and 2. Nowadays there are 2 of them. So these are the official material. You should know what the official material is. So this is the absolute minimum that you should do. Right? And then there is the IR tool. Even if you don't do it, it's okay. In the official guide itself, there are about 50 questions of IR, so that is usually enough practice. But in case you feel that you want to more IR questions, then just use the questions on the IR tool. Don't practice material from here and there. So this is the absolute minimum material that you must do. I will put this content in the must do category. So you must do this. Unless you do these content, your GMAT preparation is kind of incomplete. After that, of course, you have a lot of other material to do if you want to. But in GMAT is not an exam of quantity. When you are probably preparing for your engineering entrance exams or medical entrance exams or school college board exams, so there the more you practice, there's a chance that you might get the same question on your exam, right? There's always a chance. But in GMAT it's not like that. No matter how many questions you do, you will never ever get that same question on your GMAT. Remember that. So the focus should not be on quantity. The focus should not be on how many questions you are doing. It should be rather like how you are doing those questions. So quality is far more important than quantity. Siddharth, yes, all this content are available. Official guide we give, content, verbal reviews are there in our library. GMAT prep test we give. All of these are available with Jamboree. Yes. Okay, so as I was saying, that how many questions you do is not as important as how you are solving those questions. So here I would just like to say that that don't focus on only getting the correct answer. So while doing a problem, let's say you get stuck between option B and C and you chose C and C is the correct answer, that does not mean that you got the question correct, right? So it just means that you got lucky in that attempt. So after doing any question, let's say you are doing an exercise of 20 questions, and the natural tendency is to revise or review only the questions that you get wrong. But that is not the right way to prepare for the GMAT exam. So the right way to prepare for the GMAT exam would be to review all the questions, including the ones that you get correct. You have to be 100% sure about why the other 4 options are wrong. It is guaranteed that you will never get that question on the exam. At the same time, it is also guaranteed that the rules and the strategies used to eliminate the wrong options are going to be tested on the GMAT exam. So this is a very important thing that you should remember. I see students who, in our classes we give homework, right? So I see students, who just randomly do their homework and then they check the, whether how many they got right, wrong. That's absolutely a waste of time. When you are doing your homework, always keep a note of the answer options that you got stuck, between. So on question number 2, let's say you got stuck between option C and D, so make a note of it. So next time when you come for class, ask your faculty, okay, why not C, why not D? So only then your GMAT preparation will be like would be a smart working, then it will be like smart prep. Otherwise it will be just doing questions for the sake of doing. You have to prepare smart. Any questions till now? So I hope the students, the Jamboree students who are here, I hope you do your homework regularly. Yes, everybody, you guys do your homework or not? Okay, good. Because see, it's not, you cannot hope to get a good GMAT score just by sitting in 6 hours of classes a week. You have to do your homework. You have to get into the habit of solving questions. It's more, it's practice, Okay, by the way, why are you guys taking the GMAT? Okay, how about the rest of you? Why are you taking the GMAT exam or thinking of for MBA? Okay, okay, good. Now remember this. Don't forget, after 1 month of GMAT preparation, don't forget the end goal, right? Lot of students, they start the GMAT prep because they want to get admission somewhere, and once they start the GMAT preparation, they get so immersed in the GMAT preparation that they forget about everything else, right? So do not forget why you are doing the MBA. I mean, why you are preparing for the GMAT. So you are doing the GMAT to get admission in a business school, right? Now what does that mean? That means that, you know, you need to start working on a university. What are your dream universities, right? You know, let's say University X, you know, what's the target GMAT score, what's the deadline? You should start working on that as well. Let's say you are preparing for your GMAT, and everybody has some, you know, target GMAT score, but is that GMAT score enough to get admission in the college that you want to go to, right? I mean, I often see students who say, oh, I want a 700 plus, I want a 700 plus, and my question is, 700 plus what? There are colleges where you will get admission with 700. There are colleges for which you need a score of 740. There are colleges where you can get admission with 650 also. So, I mean, on what basis did you arrive at the target GMAT score? And people usually don't have an answer to that. So, if you do not have a target GMAT score, if you do not have the, you know, then what will happen is that it's like, okay, how do I put it? All of you watch cricket. Everybody watches cricket. I mean, do you guys watch cricket, or at least aware of it? Okay, so even if you don't watch cricket, you are probably aware of the game. So, you know, let's imagine you are batting second, you know, you are the second team batting, and you don't know what score you are chasing. What will happen then? You will probably keep on scoring at a run rate that you think is a good, and at the end of the day, you might realize that, okay, you have not got the score that you need to win. So not knowing your target GMAT score is something like that. So if you don't know what your target GMAT score is, it will be like playing, you know, cricket, batting second, and not knowing what you need to score to win, right? So so be very careful of that. Work on your university shortlist, you know what you should target, you know, and this score, the target GMAT score, will differ from profile to profile, right? And you should also know the, you know, deadlines, which will help you know when to take the exam. If your dream university has a deadline of December 1, that means you have to take your GMAT exam by mid-November latest, because you have to budget around 15-20 days for your applications as well. So don't just prepare GMAT, you know, that is not your goal. The goal is to get admission for whatever program you are applying for, right? So keep that in mind. The GMAT is just one of the parameters. So a high GMAT score, you know, does not guarantee admission. You need to know that. You need a lot of this stuff. GMAT score is just one of the parameters, as I said, you know. All of these are, you know, admissions criteria, basically, you know, your profile. So start working on those, you know, based on these, you know, find out, you know, what GMAT score do you need for what college. Is there, I mean, luckily for you, we are still in June, so there is enough time for you to fill gaps in your profile if you want to, right? So you guys are lucky that you have started early, right? So if there are certain gaps in the profile, you can actually do something now, you know, to fill those gaps. So have those conversations. Talk to your center managers, the Jamboree students, you know, talk to your center managers, just talk to your counselors about your profile. Ask them how you can improve, you know, utilize the time. Just because you have started your GMAT prep does not mean that your entire life now has to be about the GMAT score. No, let's not forget the admissions criteria. The GMAT score is just, you know, just the tip of the iceberg, literally, right? So GMAT prep and profile building must go hand in hand. Otherwise, what will happen is that you will prepare for GMAT, you will have your goal. Let's say you will get a 700 and you will take the exam in December, and then you suddenly realize that, oh, well, that's not enough. Plus you have missed the deadline. Plus you have no idea what funds to arrange for, you know, so you don't want to be in such a situation. So your GMAT prep is just one of the criteria for getting admission in whatever program you want to. Siddharth, how can one add community experience as in US it's considered? Okay, now this is another myth, you know. It's good if you have a history of community service. Adding community service is a very bad thing to do. By the way, it's not just everything, right? So if you don't have a history of community service, then don't try to, like, you know, just have something for the sake of the application. It will look just very bad. Even if I have seen a lot of applicants who without having any community service, they have got admission in top colleges. So it's just a myth that to make your profile strong you have to have community service, etc., etc., you know. Alright then, so that's all for today.